Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at USAGlobalTV.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, and a huge welcome to all of our new followers on E360 TV. We are super pleased to have you with us as well. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is A Woman's Prerogative. In case this is the first time you're joining us, we actually have 2 episodes each Monday. And this is part 1. It's always at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time, which is 5 p.m. British Summer Time. And the second episode is at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that would be midnight. Woo! And joining me, one of our panelists, she'll actually be back for part 2, even though it will be midnight her time. So our topic today is the glass ceiling shattered. Women in corporate leadership. We're going to be talking about all kinds of aspects of this topic. So please get ready for a fabulous session today. You can go over to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV and Radio, and you can actually subscribe to our network so that you can make sure that you are apprised of all of our shows. We currently offer 41 different shows. And of course, we have another show coming your way. It's our reunion show, which we do 3 times a year. This is an opportunity for everyone who's been on our platform to go ahead and get their 15 minutes of spotlight and fame. This year, it's October 15th. It starts at 10 a.m. Eastern time and runs for 6 hours. So without further ado, let me bring out our other panelists for today. We have a smaller panel than usual. Her name is Caroline HEWARD, and she's known as the Harley Street stress expert. She's also a very dear friend, and she is located outside London. She has a new theme song coming called Bust Your Stress. Bust Your Stress. She's going to tell us all about that and more. Welcome, Caroline, to the program. Hello.
Woohoo! Hello, Dr. JACALYN. So you're really going to do that song?
I'm telling you, that song is one that the world needs because everyone's stressed out. You and I were just talking backstage. There's so much stress in the world. But how do you help people bust their stress?
Well, I help people with all manner of symptoms, and usually people say, I'm not stressed, I'm okay. But when you're complaining about something, so if you have a relationship that's not working, if you have a physical ache and pain, like back pain, neck pain, stomach problems, if you have an eczema, psoriasis, or if you're moaning about being stressed, but saying you're not stressed, and you're not listening to your language. All of these are symptoms of physical, emotional, mental, behavioral stress. And I help you literally bust through your symptoms. And I work with root cause therapy using chakra psychology to identify the root cause of when your symptom first began. And I do that very simply, very effectively, without going through a lot of story, and you will feel incredibly peaceful, and you will have a really good night's sleep after we've broken through that root cause symptom. You will feel genuinely relaxed, and especially when you find out what the root cause is. It's amazing therapy. It's simple, it's quick, and I love helping people break through and bust their stress.
Fantastic. And I just want to say that I am happy to admit that I am experiencing a lot of those stressors. So it's great to be able to do this show and talk about these things live. So when I mentioned to you the glass ceiling, what comes up for you, Caroline?
Oh, well, I've been there. I know what it is. It's when, essentially, because I trained in management, I was a qualified manager when I left college at 19. And so I went straight into management, but I was stuck in what I would say was middle management, upper middle management, and didn't quite get to all the way up to directorship in the way that I wanted to. And that used to be very frustrating for me, because there was a lot of men that were in those higher level directorships on boards in the boardroom. I didn't seem to manage to get to it. It was almost like it didn't matter what qualification. I went back to university and did some new qualifications to break through that ceiling. And all I landed up doing was being, sort of, again, middle management. So it didn't matter what qualification I had. I just didn't seem to be deemed acceptable. And the other thing that happened was there was a lot of people that were not as well educated as me in terms of they didn't have the qualifications. And yet, when I had those conversations with them, they were looking at boardroom positions and indeed in boardroom positions. And I just didn't seem to get that flexibility of being invited or offered, and it didn't make sense to me, and it was very frustrating because I chose career and just didn't manage to get there. So I did a lot of voluntary, unpaid work that I was sitting on boards. So I sat on the board of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, and I was vice chairman. So I did a lot of voluntary positions on boards without actually getting the pay.
Wow, I appreciate your candor and your honesty as always, and I feel your pain because I went there too. I want to share this with people out there that Caroline and I own our own businesses now, and we are in a completely different position. And I feel that we both are empowered and we both are mentors to many. So there is hope for people as long as they are willing to be open and to say to somebody, hey, I need some help. I'm having some issues. I'm not able to get to where it is I want to go. What are your thoughts about whether or not it makes sense to reach out to a male counterpart if you are in corporate? Does that make sense? Or do you think we can only stick with females to support one another?
I think that men are very open to have conversations because they see it. The challenge is that when you want to be kept in favor, there is a lot of cancel culture in today's society, both in work and in the social media, where if you say the wrong thing, that, sort of privately, I feel that you can get support from people because they kind of get it and they understand what is going on and they feel for the friendships of people that they are sharing in their corporate lives. But, it's very difficult for some people to be seen to be publicly having those conversations because there is so much judgment and there is so much misconception and so much challenge for women wanting to break through that glass ceiling. And there are certainly women that have, and it's much better than what it used to be, much, much better. We are finding women in boardrooms, but it's still got a very heavy percentage of men in the boardrooms with a very small percentage of women.
I totally agree with that. So, Caroline, I want to look at a few things, and I want to mention how excited we are to be in collaboration and partnership with E360 TV. So, again, welcome to everyone. So, if you think about it, what are some ways that you and I and others who are out there watching or listening can help empower women to reach leadership positions? Because many times I think at least in my history and the women I've worked with, in some ways, it's kind of like, okay, we have all these other things going on, all these other responsibilities in our lives, and to take that effort and to go against the grain, to try to make a name for ourselves. It's after we get rebuked a few times, we just say, you know what, I can't deal with this because I have to take care of this at home. I have to take care of them. I have to. So, what are your thoughts about some ways that are easy that we can empower one another?
Well, one of the things that happens, certainly for women when they're being confronted with these issues in the workplace, is that it knocks our confidence and it knocks our self-esteem of what we can do versus what we're told we can do or what we're accepted to be doing. And bearing in mind that many people are in quite high positions, many women are, but they're not being paid the same as the counterpart, that's the man in the same job. So that's also something to consider. And that is to accept that, without the feminine energy, then things don't work so well. And women are very good at collaborating. They're very good at seeing more than one view and bringing in the right partnerships. So there is very much a place for women in the workplace to supersede rather than being on their own. They say no man is an island. Actually working together in collaboration and bringing in other people, because there is much more power behind a team or a collaboration than there is for one person fighting the good fight. And the other thing I would like to mention in that is that women have the softer skills, and so they will hear more, and they will hear and listen differently to many men in terms of the collaboration. And I feel that they will see things that perhaps may be missed by the masculine counterpart within a company. And I feel that there is very much a place there, and it's just about feeling comfortable and confident in your power and making sure that you have a mantra that says that you're good and you can succeed, because there is very much a situation where when you are feeling unconfident, that you will then demonstrate uncomfortability in that lack of confidence.
Excellent point. Thank you. I also want to share that when I started this journey in broadcasting, there were a number of men, excuse me, who were very supportive. There were men I never met before who reached out to me, who had experience in this area and really did go ahead and jump in and help grow this platform. So I don't want anyone to feel that men are not supportive, because there are men who are definitely supportive. But I think there are still some barriers that exist. And when we talk about the glass ceiling and breaking through and shattering, we're talking about compensation as well as having opportunities, maybe to seat at the table. Maybe it is potential future acquisitions or growth. And yet, when we look around, there are definitely women across the world who are in positions of power. But I feel that we need to do more. And in order to do more, I think we have to understand, where are the blockages today? Where are the challenges that still exist today? Whether you are in corporate or whether you have your own business and are looking to break into a new area, or maybe you're looking to collaborate with someone like you had mentioned, there are people who are threatened to collaborate. And I know I've shared this before, and I'll just keep it vague, but when I was at a different television channel, I was basically told that I couldn't go out and do anything on my own because it was going to be seen as competition. And I thought it'd be great to collaborate, but the other entity did not see it that way. So, we're all about collaborations here. So just as a certified therapist, before we go into it a little bit further, why are people concerned, fearful, trepidatious of collaborations?
It's a fear of the unknown. It's a fear of the insecurity of not being seen as a valuable contribution in that collaboration. And this comes from the Darwinian fight. The fittest survives. I can't think of the expression there. Survival of the fittest, and essentially, sort of that is a very masculine trait, and we are both masculine and feminine in our energies, and so it's important to have recognition that some people will have a fear of being overshadowed, and that's what prevents them from going into a collaboration. And actually collaboration has more power behind it, because you can do so much more when you're collaborating with other people than you could do on your own.
I love what you shared there. When I was in corporate and I was obviously on a team or teams throughout the 20 plus years, I always felt intimidated. And I felt intimidated because there were people who were pushier, if that's the right word, but people who felt more confident in sharing their voice and in sharing their views. And so I felt more insecure. So it was my issue. It wasn't their issue. But now that I have my own businesses, I don't feel that way. I am thirsty for information. And I mentioned to you before, we have a couple of newsletters, and I've seen people opt out. I opt in for as many newsletters as possible because I want to learn. I want to see what are people doing out there. And so instead of looking at it as a threat, I look at it as a way to learn. And I think if people were to take that as an opportunity, instead of cutting people out for no cause, maybe you could learn something from them. Now, you and I have talked about specifically on LinkedIn, there's a lot of pushiness, I would say, in terms of people going out there and really trying to get you to work with them. And they're pushing what it is that they do on you. And so that I find somewhat offensive. But if someone has a newsletter, I want to read that newsletter. I want to see what they're up to. If someone approaches me and they say that they want to have a short meeting with me, yes, I'm interested in that. The only time that I find myself saying no is, and this happens, it just happened today, somebody will send me an email and they'll forward it again and again and again. And it's about something that has nothing to do with me. So for example, I'm getting a lot of emails from people who think that I'm a shipping manager. So I don't know what about what I do has anything to do with being a shipping manager. So those types of things I will go ahead and delete. But I'm interested in collaborations, and therefore I'm very excited about E360 TV. They have their own platform, USA Global TV and Radio. We have our own platform, yet we had meetings and discussed that it really made sense. Why not give our audience an opportunity to meet a new audience? Why not give our team members an opportunity to share what it is that they're doing with a whole new platform? So I would just ask you, when you think about breaking glass ceilings, how can you maybe break your mindset? How can you say, you know what, I've been doing this the same way for so long, and it's kind of boring. It's kind of stale. I'd like to learn something new. So instead of being threatened when someone approaches you and wants to share an idea, what is the issue with just having a listen, being open-minded and embracing a new idea that might really have a huge impact on what it is that you're doing? And that being said, also, I think we have to set our expectations. So when you are collaborating with someone or you're taking a new opportunity and embracing it, that doesn't mean that the results that you want are going to come right away. And what do I mean by that? So if your only interest is monetary, if it's only compensation based, then a collaboration with someone else may cause you to invest your money and time into the project, and you may not get the return that you're looking for right away. I know I'm a big fan of Shark Tank. I really don't watch any mainstream television. I've got a television in front of me that I haven't turned on in years. I've got two other televisions. They're not even plugged in, actually. I just don't watch mainstream television. But I have watched Shark Tank in the past, and I've learned a lot. One of the things I've learned is that you have to be fully committed, and that there are very few times when someone is an overnight success. but we have to just keep putting ourselves out there. And so when I think about the fact that we currently have 41 shows here on this platform, and we've only been streaming for a year and 8 months, the only way that we could grow this platform is through collaborations. And so therefore we have people from all over the world who are working together now, not just here on this platform, but they're also exploring their own collaborations. We have a huge event coming up, which is October 9th/10th, and it's World Jenny's Day. So Jenetta Barry was introduced to this platform, and she has a number, I think 4 shows of her own here, but she also founded this charity, World Jenny's Day. And as a result of that, she's bringing people from all over the world onto this platform. And that's great, not just for me, but it's great for everybody who's watching. It's great for everybody who's a team member, and it's great for all of our fans because you get new content, you get introduced to new people. And if you take the effort to go ahead and introduce yourself to these people, you never know where it will go. What I find really interesting, and I don't know if this has anything to do with the glass ceiling or not, and it's not just for women, but we have opportunities to meet someone. We have opportunities to connect on social media, and either we don't do it, or we do it and we don't bring value, or we bring value and we don't follow through. So these are some of the things that I'd like to just highlight very briefly. I really extend a welcome to you. I'm putting up my contact information. If you're watching this show, why don't you reach out to me? Why don't you introduce yourself and say, hey, this is what I do, and this is the value that I can bring, and maybe we can do something together. I'm giving you an open invitation. So why wouldn't you go ahead and take it? You can reach me on my email address. I have several, but Dr. Jacalyn, DRJACALYN @USAGlobalTV.com. If you're interested in being a guest on any of our shows, why not? Why don't you break your own ceiling if you're feeling insecure, if you say to yourself, I'm not somebody who can get in front of a screen. It's just not me. It is you. You just have to change this. You have to change your mindset. And I'll share a quick story with you. I've been invited to speak. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. I've been invited to speak as a VIP speaker at the World Summit on Women and Girls, October the 20th through the 22nd. And I have a lot going on. My mom just died. And in addition, I've had to make some major decisions about where I'm living and what I'm doing. And I really thought to myself, I just don't think I have it in me. I don't really think I can do it. And 2 nights ago, I was sitting at the computer and I said to myself, they are all excuses because you're afraid, because you don't feel like it. But you made a commitment. I made a commitment. See her name, Justina Matali. I made a commitment to her that I was going to be there. So I went ahead, I booked my flight, and I booked my Airbnb, and I'm going. And I'm so happy that I did that. But I very easily, at the same time, I could have talked myself out of it. So I'm asking you to break your own ceiling. And instead of that negative content loop that goes around and around, go ahead and do something that literally scares you or terrifies you. And if that means coming on this platform as a guest to share your content, we'd love to help you break that ceiling because we provide a comfortable space for you to share your story. And we'd like to help you with the work that you're doing. So it's come to my attention that Caroline has lost her service. So she's not here. So we have just me, which is fine because I really enjoy speaking with you. So let's move on. And if you have any comments, by the way, I'd love to hear whatever your comments happen to be. But if you think about mentoring, who is it that's a mentor to you or for you? And for whom are you mentoring? What does mentoring even look like? Does it have to be something official? Does it have to be in a contract? No, it can just be a phone conversation. It could be a Zoom session where somebody says, hey, this is what I'm going through. I want to run it by you. And if you're available, may I suggest that you listen at the highest level, because it's a true gift to give to that other person. And again, that shows your emotional intelligence, your integrity, and that you are there for that other person. So being a mentor can really help people break through whatever ceilings. I'm expanding it beyond women and glass ceilings. I'm talking about the barriers that we put up for ourselves. Many times, and we could have explored this with Caroline because she is a certified therapist, we could have explored, where do these barriers come from? Why are they there? And I'll share one that I still have. I love to sing. I love to play the piano. My father was an incredible pianist. And when I was growing up, I took piano lessons from the same teacher that he had. And so right here in this house, we have one of his pianos. And when he passed away, his piano playing was so incredible that we had 2 screens up in the church, and I had him playing at his own funeral on both of the screens. It was incredible. But when he was alive, I didn't feel comfortable playing the piano all the time in front of him because I wasn't as good as he was. And when he passed away, I didn't feel comfortable actually playing his piano because I felt like I didn't deserve it because I wasn't as good as he was. And so after a number of years passed, I said, you know what? I'm playing this piano. This is a beautiful Yamaha piano. I'm playing the thing, and my dad's not here, and nobody has to critique me. And since my mother passed away, I've really been enjoying playing the piano because I don't have to worry that I'm not good enough. My mom loved to sit and listen to me play, but I always felt like, well, I'm not dad, and she probably wishes that, he were here playing, which is probably not the case. Again, insecurity. So I've had that insecurity for so long, and it's also coupled with the singing. My dad had a beautiful voice, and we would sing together. And I dated a couple of guys, and I used to sing all the time. And both of them, I didn't date them at the same time, but in the different relationships, both of them said to me at some point that they prefer if I didn't sing, that they had a better voice than I do, or their daughter had a better voice than I did. So I stopped singing. And it was right here on this platform, Dr. Madalene Chan, who was one of our team members, and she's also a dear friend. She's a vocal coach as well as many other things. After an interview, she contacted me and she said, I want to talk to you about vocal lessons because you're a natural singer. And I thought, is she crazy? I'm not a natural singer. Although one of my dreams growing up, you'll laugh at this, but I always wanted to be a lounge singer. I wanted to have that black, sleek dress that was slit up the side and it was low cut in the back. I think it was Michelle Pfeiffer and the Fabulous Baker Boys. And I'm lying across the black piano and I've got the microphone and I'm singing some like dark, dusty bar. And I always wanted to do that. So when she said that to me, I just kind of laughed. And anyway, I started taking vocal lessons, and then we actually wrote a piece of music together. And when we got to a certain word about love, I would start to cry. My voice would start to break. And she brought it to my attention, my own glass ceiling, that I probably didn't love myself as much as I should, because just saying that word, it was painful for me. And so even though you see me here on this screen and I've got all these degrees and all these books and all these courses, I'm just like anybody else. I have my own insecurities as well. So I've learned to go ahead and go right through the door. If I've got something that I'm really feeling insecure about, I've got to face it. That's the first thing I'm going to do. So I've got some new music that's written. I was supposed to be in London in the middle of the month, but my mom's funeral and some other things are taking place. So I was going to be recording the songs in the studio with Dr. Chan and some others, and I'm not going to be able to do it now, but I will be doing it. And so that's what I say to you. What is it that you could do that's keeping you back? And if you think about it, once you do it, how will your life be changed? So I want you to think that over. We're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes. So let's hear from some of our team members here at USA Global TV and Radio, and I'll see you shortly.
Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. My name is Roland Friedl, and maybe as you can recognize from my accent, I'm Austrian, so it's a small country in the middle of Europe, in the heart of Europe. And yeah, I'm 59 years old. I'm a father and a grandfather. And from my business background, after my very short but very successful corporate career, I was the youngest member of board of director in a huge business, in a huge company. I started my own businesses in different areas, in different industries, and I got a lot of experience, what is working, what is not working. And about 2.5 decades ago, I started a training, coaching, consulting company, Spartan Performance Systems, where I did and still do train and consult international huge businesses worldwide like Xerox and other big players in the world. So we do a lot of sales trainings and management trainings with my team in different languages. That's my main background in business. Besides that, I'm very engaged in men's work and also in the environment. That's my background, to make it shortly. So to be honest, I'm very curious about what's going on in the world. I love to learn. I love to travel. So my huge passion is traveling. Right now, as you can see the background, I'm sitting in my motorhome. So after 14 years living on a beautiful island, I decided to move into my motorhome and travel to Europe and live and work from my motorhome. So, and I got engaged to USA Global TV and Radio actually a year and around 9-10 months ago. A very good friend of mine, he contacted me and asked me if he can invite me for an interview on USA Global TV and Radio. I guess the show was called The Journey of My Life. And to be honest, in the beginning, I said no, because I had very bad experience on interviews in my business careers. I did it twice for a TV channel in Austria. And then they cut it and edited it. And at the end, my comment was totally different than to the reality I said. So I said in the beginning, no, but I trusted this guy. So they said, okay, let's do it. He told me I don't have to fly to the US. I can do it from my home. At the time, this was his island in Mallorca. So, and it was an amazing, and a beautiful conversation. And then Dr. JACALYN contacted me and asked me if I'm interested in becoming a co-moderator of a show. And so we started the Mallorca Connection, which is a weekly show on Monday, the Mallorca Connection. I got more and more involved. I became an elevated listener because I strongly believe it's important to listen first before you talk. And I had the chance to host and moderate and design my own shows like the Earth Show in the past, the Men shows. I became a talking head, an expert on business topics. So I hosted, moderated, I guess about more than 100, maybe 200, I don't know, idea, shows on USA Global TV and Radio, and I still do. And finally, we started the It's Your Healthy Lifestyle, a very good show, and we bring a new one on about the planet Earth. Yeah, that's a little bit what I'm doing here on USA Global TV and Radio. So why I'm doing this? First of all, I really love new medias. I love the platform. I love the work that this Dr. JACALYN is doing to educate people. It's all about sharing, caring, and connecting and networking. And the benefit I got out of this in my personal experience, I learned a lot about myself, to be honest. I learned a lot about my strengths in moderating, in hosting, in talking live in front of a video camera. I learned a lot of myself, where are my strengths, where are my weak points that I have to improve. I met a lot of new interesting people. Some of them became friends of mine. Actually, after all, it's a hell of work, to be sure. Yes, it is, to be prepared to invite people for the shows, to find new topics, to do research on the facts. But I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the industry, the media industry. I learned a lot about broadcasting, videos, interviewing. And as I said, I met a lot of interesting people, and also made new friends where I'm very happy for that. So yeah, USA Global TV and Radio, it's the platform to connect. It's about sharing and caring. And for me, USA Global TV and Radio is a huge family, and I'm very thankful and grateful for this experience. And I guess the best is yet to come. Thanks a lot from Roland from Austria. Thank you. Bye.
I just can't take it anymore. I am so tired. I am so frustrated and burnt out. Why won't anyone listen to what I have to say? Yet I look on social media and everybody's smiling and having a great time. Meanwhile, I feel totally alone with my world rushing by. Guess what? Great news. You have a choice. You can change the dynamic by learning how to listen at an elevated level yourself through the power of listening educational courses. Can you imagine from where you are today to having a life overflowing with abundance? It's possible. Learn how to listen at an elevated level. You'll have deeper connections, better relationships, and more authentic conversations. Start today. Go to USAGlobalTV.com, education, and learn how to listen. We have courses and children's books. Let's work together to learn how to listen. Welcome back, everyone. This is USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and I'm joined by the beautiful, the vivacious, the talented, the experienced Caroline HEWARD. Welcome back, Caroline.
Woo! Thank you very much, Dr. JACALYN.
It's an absolute pleasure. Caroline, what I was giving our audience some information about was some of my own insecurities, some things that happened to me when I was younger and reasons why I was afraid to pursue playing the piano or singing because of things that have been said or things that I really conjured up in my own mind in some cases. And as a therapist, I think for people to break through ceilings, we have to understand that we limit ourselves as well. Can you talk a little about that, please?
Yes, of course. We do limit ourselves because there is such a term as imposter syndrome. And when I was in corporate, I didn't actually hear it until I left corporate, and it made sense to me. And imposter syndrome is where we're not feeling confident about what we're doing. And so then we exhibit the lack of confidence in what we're doing internally. But then we're pushing through externally how we are, what we want to exude in terms of confidence, but internally, so there's a mismatch. So inside we're feeling, oh, am I good enough? Can I do that? Is that not, I'm not worthy of this position and I'm going to get caught out, and, my counterpart is much better than me. And there's all this inner dialogue going on that is very negative, but the external part of you is actually being seen as confident, outgoing, and able to deliver on the job. And so because of this fight internally, and this comes from our own personal insecurities, that could be from childhood, it could be from a teacher that turned around and said something to you that made you feel insignificant or insecure. And I'd like to share with you something that happened to me when I was looking at taking my options at school. And the teacher that looked after me at that time when we were looking at options was my art teacher. And I wasn't particularly great at art. It wasn't my thing. And I wanted to be an air hostess. And I know that's not deemed as a very glamorous career now, but back then it was. And it was a very highly regarded profession. There were many women that wanted to be, and young girls that wanted to be, an air hostess because it was very glamorous in terms of its showing of lifestyle. And I was told very clearly when I asked to choose options with my art teacher, she said, you have neither the academic ability, the personality, the confidence, or anything else, so forget it. And what it did for me then was it gave me a huge amount of insecurity about my ability to do anything. And I thought from that, well, I'm going to fail on my exams, so I'll just stay on after school because I'm not good at anything. And so it really had a knock-on effect of wherever I was going, I lacked confidence because I didn't feel secure in my decisions as to what I wanted to do. So I just chose subjects I enjoyed. And I actually excelled in those subjects. So it's a new way to look at something that's challenging and difficult, is that if you do something you love, something you enjoy, you will generally excel because it doesn't feel so hard because you enjoy it.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing that, for your vulnerability. I appreciate it. Something else that came through for me when you were sharing that was, and I've heard this from other people on our platform, is that one of their teachers, someone in a position of power, put them down, insulted them, told them they weren't good enough. And now, in those exact areas where they said they weren't good enough, they are doing super well beyond their own expectations. So, when we're a younger person, that kind of feedback can be completely disabling. And as an older person, we can say, yeah, okay, you're crazy, or I'm not going to listen to you, or whatever the case may be. But so when we're a younger person and someone gives that kind of feedback, we might not be able to say, oh, I'm going to show you. So what can we do as parents or caregivers or people in a position to shape the lives of someone else? What can we do when we're getting this feedback about our child and what they've been told?
Well, what's really interesting in terms of the study that I've done in the last couple of decades plus is that we are very malleable as children. We can actually do anything that we choose, that we put our minds to. And I've been showing videos from some of my trainers where they've shown a child how to play an instrument, how to play a piece of music. And so they've heard the piece of music, they've been given the instrument, and then they've just copied it. And they've been able to excel in terms of what they heard and what they played. And it's because a child actually learns in a very different way to an adult. And their learning is super fast. And so if an adult is putting into the child, you can't do this, you can't do that, there is no way that you're going to succeed in that, then you are actually stopping that natural superpower that children have. And this is why they say, in inverted commas, that it's good to learn to drive when you're young. They say it's good to study when you're younger because you learn so much. It's good to learn languages when you're younger because you take in your learning so much easier and so much quicker. And when you're older, the synapses of the brain work less fast. And so young children, they're very malleable and adaptable to change. And so this is the time to give them encouragement. And if for every person that gives them discouragement, it's important for the family, their peers, to give them encouragement. And I had a maths teacher at the time that was absolutely amazing with me and gave me lots of encouragement. And when I left school and I went to college, I was doing things that I loved and things that I enjoyed. And I went back to see one of my teachers, and he said, oh, your maths teacher is still in the room. Would you like to go and say hello? And so I did. And he said, wow, he said, you're a different person. I can't believe you're the same person that was at school. He says, you just seem to be oozing confidence. And so it was because I was doing something I really enjoyed. And more importantly, I was good at. And that was, sort of a complete turnaround. I turned from being a very unconfident academic child. And when I left school and went to college, I became very confident academically because I only chose things that I enjoyed. And obviously I still had to do the math side of things and the account side of things. That was a little difficult for me and a bit challenging, but I felt super confident because of the things that I was excelling in.
Woohoo! I love that. That's brilliant. Thank you. Something I want to share, because we're talking about breaking ceilings, and there's a young, vivacious woman who is actually a sponsor here on our platform. Her name is Ella Holly, and she always wanted to be a singer. And so she got together with some girls and worked with an agency and put together this music video to release her first single. And we have it here, and I want to take a look at it, and then we can talk about these young dynamic women and putting themselves out there. That's not an easy thing to do. So let's take a look at this clip. It's called Things That We Do with artist Ella Holly. Here we go.
If I look into your heart, are you looking back at me? Am I everything you want, baby? If my heart was in your hands, would it be for you and me? Would you wanna keep it close, baby? Right on time, find the right guy, the one I dreamed he'd be. Give it all that you can, stumble and fall. Love will set me free. Baby, 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 don't you know you drive me crazy? I love the things that we do. Baby, 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 if you say that I'm your lady, 'cause I can't stop thinking of you. If you told me to my face, you would lie right through your teeth. Would anybody know this is meant for me? I'm not the one to cry or throw my heart away. Can you show me all your loving? 'Cause I'm tired of these games. Right on time, I find the right guy, the one I dreamed he'd be. Give it all that you can, stumble and fall. Love will set me free. Baby, 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 don't you know you drive me crazy? I love the things that we do. Baby, 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 if you say that I'm your lady, 'cause I can't stop thinking of you. Wanna play the game, make it up, fake it up. It's what we do. We play the game, shake it up, wake it up. I'm thinking of you. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. Reach for the stars. Baby, 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 don't you know you drive me crazy? I love the things that we do. Baby, 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 if you say that I'm your lady, 'cause I can't stop thinking of you. Baby, baby, baby. Baby, baby, baby.
I love that. I so love that. It's a beautiful video. It's very, as you say, vivacious. It's attention grabbing. It's a catchy tune, and you know, it's young people. When I was that young, I wouldn't be able to do that. You know, that flexibility of tech wasn't there then to be able to do those sorts of things without paying tons and tons of money. You know, so it was only available for the people that had huge budgets. So I think it's amazing that our young people are doing these kinds of things and getting out there. I feel that it's almost even, it's easier now to get yourself out there using social media and using these different platforms to demonstrate your ability than it ever used to be when both you and I were young. Because it was, you know, you just had to kind of be in the right elevator with someone. You had to be in the right meeting. You had to meet the right person, you know, whereas you can actually put yourself in front of literally millions of people overnight, you know, just by being on social media. And I feel that that's a strategy that breaks through this glass ceiling of being seen. You know, sometimes it's there's different ways to skin the cat, and social media and producing incredible videos like that is one of them.
Yeah, very good points that you made. Again, that was Ella Holly, Things That We Do. We actually interviewed her mother. She was supposed to come on as a guest, and her mother shared this, so it's not that it's a secret, but she was too nervous to come on and be interviewed, which is interesting. So she can put that video together in that medium, but to be interviewed. And by the way, I do want to announce that I purchased a set of those crop tops, and when the manufacturer found out, they were recalled. They said, we don't want you wearing them. So, so we are so proud of Ella Holly and also of her dancers, and we're just thrilled that she's putting herself out there and breaking that glass ceiling. So, Caroline, we have a few minutes left before we go, and I think it would be interesting. You've broken a lot of glass ceilings. You've talked about some of them. I'd love for you to go into your spirituality and even your chanting and your dancing. I think that that is a great way for people to go ahead and break through their ceiling. Tell us a little bit more, whatever you feel comfortable.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for the opportunity for me to describe some of these things, because they're a little bit out there for some people. If there's something that I want to achieve or desire in my life, and it's difficult, if I'm hitting some brick walls and I'm just not getting through the results that I want to get through, and certainly, we all have those kinds of challenges. One of the things that I do is I chant Sanskrit mantras. And I've been chanting since 2007. And I experienced chanting in a training course that sort of took me over a year's training. And in the chanting, I was essentially singing along to some words that I didn't actually know or understand, and there were a few words, and I just, sort of sang along. And I felt different. I felt more I had a feeling of joy. I had a feeling of crazy energy. I felt almost, sort of, in want of a better word, enlightened. I felt lighter and easier, and I felt more energized in terms of the things that I was focused on. And sure as eggs is eggs, I was actually, because I was focused on the positive, using these incredible mantras, I felt differently inside. And I was changing my internal state, and then my external world came up with some positive outcomes. And I do believe that we mirror, things mirror when we are stressed and we are having some challenges. If we focus very much on those challenges, then all we get are the challenges, and we get more of and a deeper experience of those challenges. So when I'm having challenges, I don't like to focus on them too much, and I don't like to say too much about them until I've got to a place of overcoming them. And I use these mantras, chanting, to break through when I'm challenged internally by things that are happening in my external world, such as, sort of moving home, such as finding the right person to do my decorating for me. And I know these sound trivial things, but we all have challenges in life, in our everyday, that we have to handle. And sometimes they bring us down. And so I also do dancing. I love to dance. And if I'm feeling very low and things are not working well, and my energy comes down. So I'll put on my favorite 80s tracks. Yes, I'm sorry, I am an 80s girl. And I have my headset on, full blast, and I'm singing and dancing to the 80s songs. And I feel different. I feel better. And because my energy is higher, my vibration is higher, then I attract different things into my life from that vibration. So we all have our off days, we all have our challenging days, and we all have things that we've got to handle practically, physically, and mentally. That, when we're not feeling great, then the bad stuff that we are focused on becomes bigger. And so it's really about changing your state. And I've just named a couple of things that would be very easy to do. If you've got a favorite song and you like to dance to it, one of mine is Dancing Queen, whenever I put it on, and, dance like nobody's watching you, and you will feel different. You don't have to go to a club to do that. You will feel different.
I love that. That's one of my favorite songs also. We are coming to the end. I can't believe it. So, Caroline, I'd love for you to share your contact information. I've been imploring people to go ahead and reach out. That's why you are here. That's why I'm here. How can people reach you, and who would you like to contact you?
You can reach me on nomorestress@live.co.uk, or call on +44 if you're international. If you're local, 07523 120 189, and I will help you break through any physical, emotional, mental challenges that are holding you back in terms of your stress. If you're not sleeping, if you have any physical ache and pain, if you are struggling in a relationship, if you are struggling with anger, whatever is the thing that you are not handling, reach out and I will help you bust your stress.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Thanks for being with us. We're going to hear from one of our sponsors as we close out, and we'll be back this evening. Do join us again. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Caroline.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Caruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.